Hey guys, James here with Waterford Business Solutions. And as we close in on the end of the year, we're sitting really about a month and a half from December 31st. We're rapidly approaching the end of year rush slash tax rush. And there's a lot of things we have to consider as we get into the beginning of January. Getting out W-2 information for payroll people, getting your books prepared to file your taxes by the tax deadlines. But one that so many people always forget or push to the back burner is worrying about their 1099s and getting their 1099 NECs and miscellaneous filed. So we wanted to take a moment here and quickly kind of go over what are 1099s, who needs them, what information do you need, and what are some important dates that you have to worry about, and more importantly, why do you have to worry about this? Now, when we are looking at end of year, like I said, there's so many different things to keep in mind. So if you want to stay up to date, you want to be prepared as we go through December, January, into February, all of these key financial dates, make sure to go ahead and like and subscribe here to our channel. Go ahead and turn on those notifications because we're going to be constantly putting out a ton of information here over the next kind of 2.5 months about end of year preparation and all the things that you need there. And if you've got friends in business or anyone that you know that could use information just like this, make sure to share this video with them. Now with 1099s, there's a lot of different 1099s out there. You might receive personally a 1099 INT for interest earned on a bank account, a 1099 DIV for dividends earned on investments or a bank account. You might receive 1098s. There's a lot of different 1099s out there. We're going to specifically focus on what most business owners have to send out, which is 1099 NECs and 1099 MISCs, or miscellaneous. We're going to start with that one because it's a smaller subset of people that get that kind of 1099 MISC. Now, a 1099 MISC is going to be for non-work expenses. Most of the time, we're now going to see this kind of occurring for rent paid. So if you've got a landlord, you need to make sure that you're sending them a 1099 miscellaneous. If you've got an employee that you might have paid for some stuff on the side, they might fall into a 1099 miscellaneous. Those are all things that we've got to make sure we get on that 1099 miscellaneous, and we've got to make sure that get it issued in a timely manner to everyone here. There's not a ton of these that go out anymore just due to some tax law changes that occurred a few years back. Most of you are probably only going to issue one, if that, to your landlord if you've paid any type of rent or anything like that there. The bigger one that you're going to end up issuing is going to be a 1099 NEC, and that stands for non-employee compensation. So basically any contractor that did work for you, and that could really be anything. That could be your accountant, that could be your lawyer, that could be contractors doing direct work for you instead of you hiring employees for it. That could be your marketing person if you've got a marketing person. That could be a third-party answering service. All of those could be needing a 1099 NEC here. So we've got to make sure anytime you contract with anyone to provide any type of services to you, that you're not paying them through your business, that you are prepared to send them a 1099 NEC. Now, ultimately, you only have to send this if you pay one of these people at least $600 in a calendar year. If you pay them $599, you're clear, you don't have to send this. But if you pay them $600, $700, $2,000, $20,000, you have to send them this 1099 NEC. There is no question there about it outside of one other thing, and that's going to be how they file their tax return. For people who are C Corps or S Corps, that's really the only other area or only other way that you would not have to send them a 1099 NEC. So if they are not an S Corp or a C Corp and if you have paid them more than $600, you have to send a 1099 NEC if they provided any type of services to you that were physical services. Now, if you went to a mechanic and they repaired your vehicle and they used parts to do that, that's a different story. But your marketing agency, whatever you're paying them to market for you, not to Google, not to anything like that where you're getting a product out of it. If you're getting a product, you don't have to send a 1099 NEC. But if you're receiving a service, that's where that 1099 NEC shows up and is required to be done. So make sure that you track all of that. And these are required to be issued generally by January 31st. So that means that pretty much that's one of the first things you've got to start working on when you get back from Christmas break, is you've got to make sure that your books are up to date. You know exactly how much you've paid all of these different service providers so that you can very quickly get a 1099 out to them. This is once again one of the reasons why we want to make sure that you are keeping your books up on a regular basis. If every month your books are getting closed out and your books are being taken care of, then that makes it easy to make sure we get those 1099s out in time. If, like us, we're getting your books closed out by the 10th of each month, like we do with most of our clients, that means by the 15th, we've got your 1099s going out, and we're not worried about any penalties or interest. Because ultimately, if you don't submit these 1099s here, it's your fault, and you are subject to potentially incurring the penalties for not filing. And these penalties are steep. There's a set per month cost per 1099 not issued, and there's no expiration date. So if you wait 2 years to file this, you can end up accruing 24 months of penalties or more. So we definitely want to make sure that we're doing this, because if you get caught for it, it is a very costly mistake to not get these 1099s out in a timely fashion. The other part of that's going to be to send out a 1099 to anybody, whether it's a miscellaneous or an NEC, you have to have certain information. Now, the IRS has designed a form, it's called a W-9 form, which makes this super, super easy to do. So you need to make sure, if you don't have a W-9 form on file for all of your contractors, all of your service providers, that you reach out to them today or as soon as possible to get that W-9 form on file, because that W-9 form gives you their legal name, their EIN or social security number, their mailing address, how they file for taxes and everything like that, and they're signing off agreeing that all information on there is correct. That way, if you file it to that W-9 and it is incorrect, it's now their fault, no longer your fault. The other side, we talked about earlier, for 1099 NECs, if they're filing as an S Corp or a C Corp or something there, you don't have to send them. With the W-9, you can see exactly how they're filing their taxes so that you know whether you need to issue them a 1099 or not. If they file as an S Corp or C Corp, they put that on that W-9, they sign it, you're no longer required to send it to them because you've got an authorization there and proof that you don't need to do that. So it's super, super important to have those on file. And if you don't, again, make sure you're doing that today, because just asking for it once doesn't absolve you of the issue here. You've got to request that W-9 at least 3 times in writing before you can file and say, hey, I tried to request this, but I never got it. Honestly, going forward, if you've never heard about this, it's better to not issue any payment to a contractor until you have their W-9 on file, because it will save you a lot of headache and everything going forward. But if this is new to you, make sure that you start trying to request those now. That way you can request it now in November. You can wait about 2 weeks, request it beginning of December, request it around Christmas time or just after Christmas, and request it again beginning of January, so that you've got a good chance to request it 4 times. And make sure you keep track of all that in case they don't provide it, because if they don't, now we can use that to substantiate why we are having to file a 1099 without an EIN on it, because they refuse to provide that to you. Again, that then changes the onus or the penalties from you to putting it onto the contractor who did not provide that information. So definitely super important to make sure that you're working on collecting those now to make the end of year even easier, because again, if you're able to get closed out by the 10th or 15th of the month, that only gives you about 10 to 15 days to go ahead and get everything filed here in a timely manner and get it e-filed with the IRS and meet the filing requirement deadlines there. So definitely want to make sure that you're doing that. You do have generally into about mid-February, but I like clients to think more on the January timeframe so that they stay on top of this and don't get behind on any issues here. If you are approaching this tax season and unsure of your books, unsure of where you stand, unsure if you're ready for W-9s or 1099s, feel free to reach out to us here at Waterford Business Solutions and give us a call at 864-351-0852 or shoot us an email at info@waterfordbusiness.com. If you feel like you have this under control, that's great. Most people do. But if you need a little bit more help, feel free to also go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel here so that you get updates about all these big deadlines coming up over the next few days, and share this video with anyone that you can think of that needs it. We're going to take a break off next week because it's going to be Thanksgiving week, but we'll be right back here in the beginning of December, ready to give you more vital information.